Welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be sticking a map file on the Volkswagen Bora, and you might be thinking, how are you going to do that in the garage? And if you've seen my previous videos, you will have seen that in one of them I mentioned that I got a device which allows you to read the files on the ECU, put onto a laptop, etc. And that device is a KESS V2, and all this does is it allows you to connect to the OBD of the car and then plug a USB into a laptop, and then you use the KESS V2 software to then read the car's ECU, take the stock file off and put it into a laptop. There's then various other options that you can do, and that is, for example, if you've already got a file from a tuner for your car, you can then use a device to then rewrite the ECU and put that file on the car, and then it's essentially remapped. Because you've already taken the standard file from the car and put it on your laptop, you can then keep that, and it's basically a safety in case you get another map that doesn't work, it's corrupted, or it just does something you don't like. So for example, too high a boost, or you're blowing boost pipes, the reek map for example with the TDIs is too much, like that sort of example, you can then put the standard file back on the car and then nothing's changed. I would say the benefit from doing this is this kit cost me £64 off eBay or something, whereas I have to get the car booked into like a dyno session, pay to get the car on the dyno, pay to get the car remapped, and if you have any issues you can then obviously sort them out there and then, which is the positives. Like I mentioned previously, I've always been interested in this sort of thing and I've never done it before, so this is actually the first time I'm doing this, so I guess we'll learn this together. So the kit itself actually comes with various amounts of things. For example, it comes with all this kit to actually de-pin an ECU on a workbench, for example, and then use it from there. But because we're in the car and the car's complete with the ECU, etc., I can just plug it into the OBD and it'll do the same thing. So really from the kit is what you need is just from what I've showed you is the actual device, the OBD cable and the USB cable. I have actually tried this previously because I wanted to try and get the original ECU file onto my laptop just as like a backup and to try it, and for some reason it wouldn't read and it wouldn't write because it came up with a checksum error. And all the information that I'm telling you, I actually got this from my mate Ben that you've seen on the channel before, and he gave me some good advice, and he said that the program that I have is either like outdated or it's locked or something. And he said to go into this website called Tools for Cars, I believe it was, and download an unlocked version, and then that is currently what I'm downloading just now, and then we'll go from there. So here we have the laptop with the KESS program now available, and as you can see I've got the USB here going into the device and then the OBD going into the OBD port, which on I'm sure all Mark IV platforms is located underneath the air conditioning. All we need to do now is just put the ignition on, then we'll go over to the program, select car, and then what we need to do here is select from this list exactly what car we have. So obviously Volkswagen Bora, and then this is an ASZ 130. So there we have 1.9 TDI ASZ 130 diesel OBD2. So then we'll click OK, and then firstly we want to read the file that's on the car. So we'll select reading, and what this will do will give us the stock file or whatever file is currently on the car to the laptop. So we just need to OK this and then start communication, which is basically making sure it can connect to the car, and then just keep clicking OK. So as we can see, it understands what it's connected to, and then we'll click OK. Proceed to read, OK, OK, OK. Now that we're letting it do its thing, you can see that it's got the information from the ECU, and now it will begin to read the file from the ECU. I have been told by Ben that if you are reading the ECU, it's fine if this were to shut off, it'll still read anyway. But if you were to be writing onto the ECU and something happened, then there is a chance you can brick the ECU and then you'll need to get a replacement. And obviously that's just a whole other headache. And for me, I'm not even going to touch anything, because if I remove that power cord, the whole laptop shuts down because the battery's screwed. So I'm just going to leave it. This will take about 6 or 7 minutes, so I'm just going to wait here, not touch anything until it's done, and we'll see where we're at afterwards. Another thing I should quickly mention is it actually shows you your battery level here, and if you have a weak battery, I do suggest hooking up some sort of charger or trickle charger, just so the battery doesn't die, because like I said, if this gets turned off while reading the ECU, then that'll be a complete nightmare. My battery actually seems to be alright, but I think when it comes to writing onto the ECU, I will be connecting up a trickle charger just to be safe. As that's just doing its thing, I'm just going to explain that, as you can see from the thumbnail, I'm not just reading the ECU for a standard file, I'm going to be putting another remapped file on the car. So the way this came about is I've never remapped a car or done this whatsoever in my entire automotive career, if you like. And basically what happened is, scrolling through TikTok, looking at TDI videos as I usually do, and I came across this company in Spain called Bertua Chipped. I apologise if I've got that pronounced wrong, but I seen a video of a Seat and it sounded like this. And straight away, as for many of you that know me, and especially on this channel, is that I'm a sucker for turbo noises. And out of all the Volkswagens and TDIs and PDs I've had, I've never had it sound like that. It really frustrates me for some reason, because I do all the things that everyone on the internet does, like full intake, full straight pipe, and it doesn't matter what I do, I can never get that turbo spool noise from a PD130. But I seen this, so I contacted them, and they kindly actually got back to me and said, look, we've actually got a map that we can put on the car and it makes it sound like that. And I don't understand how, because a turbo is obviously mechanical, whereas that's electrical, the ECU side of it. So I think I've got it roughly worked out, and it's to do with the turbo actuator, with the turbo vanes being fully open, allowing the full turbo sound. So we got chatting, and basically we created a map file where I wanted a stage 1 map, I wanted a hard cut popcorn limiter at about 4,500 revs. I think it has diesel reek in it as well, I'm not entirely sure, but if it does, then yeah, fine. And also the turbo spool mod. So I've had this for a while, I'm really excited to get it on the car and see if it works. But I'll put those guys' links in the description for Bertua Tuned. Again, I apologise if I've got that wrong. I'll put the links in the description so you can go and check out their channel. And they were really helpful with me. They done it completely free of charge. I'm not sure if they do this as a charging thing, but hit them up, tell them what you want, and see what they can do for you. Also, apologise about the bell ringing in the background. It is a Sunday morning and people are going to church. I literally just heard the fuel pump priming again, and I think we're here. So it's asking me to save the file, so I'll just save it onto the desktop, and then I know that that came off it doing this, so we'll click save. Check some error. See, again, I've no idea why. Right, so what we'll do now is I'll attempt to put the map file that I have from Bertua Tuned onto the car and see where we go from there. That's really frustrating, because I've basically bought an unlocked version of it and it's still not happy. But again, I'm going to show all the faults, all the issues that I come across while doing things, and hopefully it'll help one of you out as well. But we'll try and write onto the ECU with the file I have and see what happens. So we're back on the programme, back at this screen, and we'll select write in, because we're going to write onto the ECU, and then we're going to select the file that I have. So I've got it here, which is stage 1, 4.5K limiter. EGR's been turned off as well because I don't have one, and spool mod. So open that, check some error. Again, I'm honestly completely stuck with this. I've no idea why it's doing this. We've eventually got somewhere. So basically what I done was I typed in KESS v2 check some error fix on Google, and I clicked the very first link, which is here. So I clicked this, and then it took me to a link that this person has posted, which is here. I downloaded that, and then it still wouldn't work. So then what I worked out is that because I've downloaded that, whatever it was, I think it was Visual C, downloaded all that, and it was still the old program, if you like. So I deleted the program, reinstalled it, tried it again, but then nothing would load. It kept asking me to go to Microsoft Store because it wouldn't recognise the program. I then went onto my settings and then changed the installation process, which was always Microsoft Store, and I just changed it to anything. And I read the ECU again, and it's worked. I now have the ECU file, so fingers crossed that that has solved all the issues that I've been having. So we're going to try and write this time, which is the mod file. Select that, open. We'll do a total write. This is the furthest I've ever been with this, by the way, so I'm just learning as well. So okay, starting communication, okay, hear the fuel pump there, okay, proceed to write, okay, starting communication again, and it is now writing. Oh, I'm actually buzzing. This is the furthest I've got, so you can see that it's adding in that program there. So I guess now it's just a waiting game and see if this works. Whilst we're just waiting on this getting uploaded, it's about 43%. I just want to say a massive shout out to all the recent subscribers and followers onto the TikTok. The previous video that I done, where I done the N75 valve, I put it on the screen if you want to catch up and you haven't seen that. That video done very well on TikTok. And when I say video, all I done was upload 2 photos of the job that I done, put it on TikTok, and that is now the most viewed and interactive video that I've ever uploaded. And many of you came from that video over to the channel and subscribed. And if you're any of those people, I just want to say a massive thank you and shout out for your time and joining the TDI Society club. So for all you recent people as well that have joined, thank you so much. It is much appreciated. We're nearly at the end, and my fingers are still crossed that this works. Hear the fuel pump again. Okay. Write in ECU complete. Okay. And we're back to the main menu. Essentially, because the car now has that file on it, I'm going to start it and it should make turbo noises. Let's see. Sounds like it's got a deep idle as well. That does sound different. You can actually hear it, listen. I'm actually buzzing, that is so cool. We'll take the car out and we'll try a little drive-by to see what it sounds like. As you can see, I'm absolutely buzzing that that has worked, and that is basically how to use KESS v2, using the device, reading the file from the ECU and then uploading a file, and as you can see and I've heard, it works. The hard cut limiter sounds absolutely mad, and so does the turbo spool as well. It isn't the loudest, and I think that's because of the exhaust only being a 2.25 inch, and my plan for the future is to get a full 3-inch stainless pipe, obviously with the hybrid turbo. But that is what I wanted, and Bertua chipped that is in the description. Again, I apologise if I've got that pronounced wrong because I know they're a Spanish group. They very kindly sorted me out with this, and I just want to give them a massive shout out because they really didn't even have to acknowledge me. But the guys in Spain, they replied to my messages when they could. They sent me the file for free, and this has just made the car that a little bit better and provided content for us. So that's it from me today. If you've got any questions, please drop a comment and I'll get straight back to you. Again, huge shout out to Bertua Tuned. Absolutely sorted me out, and I'm over the moon with how the outcome was, and also that I overcame the issues with KESS. And the reason I've done this video, not only to show that the car's now got a map on it, is because there is literally no videos out there on how to use KESS V2, or videos showing you any issues whilst doing the ECU tuning. And I've came across that checksum error, the program wouldn't open properly. So hopefully I've covered that in today's video, but again, if you're unsure, just comment down below and I'll get straight back to you. And if you haven't subscribed, it's free if you didn't know, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.